Roll call, Mr. Reba.
Mr. Bonomo,
Here.
Mrs. DeCosmo,
Here.
Mr. Fume,
Here.
Mrs. Gay,
Here.
Mr. Mahalik,
Here.
Mrs. Scarcella,
Here.
Mr. Szymanski,
Here.
Mr. Van Hoeklen,
Here.
Mr. Zola.
We had two executive sessions, one on October 16th regarding personnel, the other October 23rd regarding personnel and litigation.
Ms. Byler.
Okay. Good evening. I'm here to read the monthly activity report for our school district. The girls water polo team finished at the 4th seed in the Central Conference and has reached the state game. There will be a game on Tuesday against Upper Dublin High School. The winner will join 7 other teams in the state championship tournament this Friday and Saturday. The team has reached the state play-in game 2 previous times and reached the state championship once. Childcare students have started training at the Early Learning Center. They work in the pre-K counts classrooms, early intervention, autistic support, and in several elementary classrooms. They have the opportunity to observe fantastic teachers and paraprofessionals, as well as applying the skills they have learned in the classroom setting. OSA recently held 2 fundraisers. One raised $340 for hurricane victims, and the other raised $500 for the Sugarloaf Fire Company. A group of students from the Arts and Humanities Academy Dance Studio performed a routine at the HAHS bonfire on October 2nd. Another group of students performed a zombie flash mob routine at the Holy Name of Jesus Church School's Haunted event on October 19th and 20th. Also, the Arts and Humanities Spanish 3 class is constructing their own ofrenda, which is an altar, to honor their deceased family members for the Day of the Dead. It is on display outside the 9th grade office. The Hazleton area girls volleyball team and the co-ed middle school volleyball team just wrapped up their service project in which they fundraised through t-shirt sales and a tricky tray raffle, with the proceeds going towards the Side Out Foundation. So far, they are at $3,223.21 and eligible for the Service ACE Award, which is an award given by the Side Out Foundation. If they reach their goal of $5,000, they will be eligible for the Hard Hitting Award. Congratulations goes out to Lily Nowak, who won a silver medal at the District 2 Girls Tennis Championships. In addition, PPNL will present an educational program at the Academy of Sciences on Wednesday, October 23rd. PPNL Electric Utilities supports teachers in educating students on energy standards, and the program is provided at no cost. Students learn about conserving energy and saving money by installing the free energy saving kits given out by PPNL. The program is correlated to state and national standards.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate the update very, very much. Thank you.
Public announcements and recognition.
Tonight we were going to honor Miss Betty Bobick, but she is under the weather, so we'd like to move that to November.
Thank you. Public comment directed to the board on agenda
Nothing.
item?
Nothing.
Nothing. Need a motion to approve the board
Motion.
meeting minutes. Motion
I'll
by
second.
Mr. Bonomo, second by Mr. Mahalik. Question? Mr. Reba?
All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, minutes are passed.
That was for
Was,
both.
was your motion, Mr. Bonomo,
Was that
for
for the
both
regular
sets
or
or
for
just
both
for?
Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Bonomo, second by Mr. Mahalik. Question? Reba?
All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Couple changes before we get into the agenda. On item number 24, says recommend board extend the agreement with Attorney Angela Evans for special education. It should read professional development rather than legal services. It would be professional development for an additional 2 years pending solicitor approval. Item number 49. Well, we don't need to do anything on that one until it comes up. Yeah. 64. The date change for Miss Labuda would be October 22nd. She did have her little baby girl, so we need to move the date up a little bit for her to October 22. And number 79, the salary should read $35,000. With that, items number, on page 1, approve items 1 through 19.
Motion.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Bonomo, second by Mr. Mahalik. Question? Mr. Reba?
Items 1 through 19, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
On page 4, approve items 20 through 24
Motion.
with one motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Bonomo, second by Mr. Mahalik. Question? Mr. Reba?
On items 20 through 24, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
I'm sorry, just on the motion, and I'm not gonna change my vote, but on number 20, I'm sorry, I meant to ask you this. 119.17 per quarter day. You know what that means, or? Deb here.
Is
Oh,
Deb-
hi, Deb.
There she.
Right, is that per day? I mean, what is a quarter day? So we pay $119 for 4 hours. How do I get that job? That open?
You have one.
A quarter of a day, wouldn't 4 hours be a half?
Okay. Thanks, Deb.
On page 5, approve items 25 through 29.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo and second by Mrs. DeCosmo. On the question? Mr. Reba?
Items 25 through 29, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under nutrition, approve items 30 through 31 with
Motion.
one motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Bonomo, second by Mr. Mahalik. On the question? Mr. Reba?
Items 30 and 31, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under transportation, item number 32, recommend board approve the
Motion.
annual.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. DeCosmo. Question?
Yeah, if I may, just give a nice compliment to our transportation department. Obviously, it's been about 2 years now since all those issues we had. Clearly, our department's running wonderfully. There's always a hiccup here or there, but I think Mrs. Morgan, whatever, Mrs. and your team, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. On page 6, facilities. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Ahead of myself.
Mr. Reba?
32, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under facilities and capital projects, approve items 33, 34.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo, second by Mr. Szymanski. On the question?
Bobby, we never got a chance, you never explained us these two FYIs. Just tell us how Wally.
I could explain the first one, Mr. Corrado could probably, the first one was, remember at the start of, guys, Barry is, that person come in, in nights, but free of charge and built up the area where the hole was, blacktop, and he actually found an area on his series, I don't know.
On numbers 33 and 34, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under security, approve items 35 through 37 with one
Motion.
motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mr. Mahalik. Question? Reba?
Numbers 35 through 37, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 7, student activities, athletics, and extracurricular, approve items 38 through 40.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second, Mrs. Scarcella. On the question? Reba?
Items 38 through 40, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under finance, approve items 41 through 48 with one motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. DeCosmo. Question? Reba?
Items 41 through 48, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Item 49, recommend board approve the following bids and/or requests for proposals. RFPs will be received until 11 a.m. Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018 for the following. Item number 1, forensic audit, Castle Auditorium, project RFP.
Do we need a
Wanna-
motion? Joe, do we need a motion to eliminate,
Reject those
I'll
bids.
make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Mahalik and second by Mr. Bonomo. Question? Reba?
On 49, number 1, to reject, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. I'm a no.
Ayes have it, noting Ms. Kay and Mr. Van Hoekman's no vote.
49, item number 2, snow plowing, cindering, and removal. That should read approve pending maintenance department review.
Motion.
Motion by Mr.
I'll
Bonomo,
second it.
second by Mr. Szymanski. On the question? Reba?
Item 49, number 2, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just have a question. Are we gonna look at 49-1 again in another fashion, or I thought we were pushing it to? What are we gonna do with that?
I would like to propose, let's meet with the Castle Committee
Yeah.
and see if we could come to an understanding agreement. I know we've talked about having the meeting and the schedules just did not arrange, so if we can maybe get that meeting together and, go forward.
Yeah, I just don't want it to die with.
Yep.
Brian, we
that.
don't, do we need the
Understand.
promotion, or do we?
I don't think
No.
that needs a motion, but
No, we
No.
can set up
Just
that
organize
meeting.
it.
Just sort of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just as long as it doesn't die, because I want to get to the bottom of it.
thank you.
Item,
Mr.
I'm
Branco,
sorry.
can the board members be there?
I would recommend a committee.
You mentioned two people maybe?
Three.
Two or
Two or three.
those with knowledge of the history.
item number 2, we have a motion and a second.
I made a motion.
Yeah, we voted on.
think we
Oh,
voted
we
on
did
it.
vote on it?
Yeah, we
See, I'm
voted.
really out of my own. It's not working for me tonight. Quit talking, everybody. All right, item number 50, the bills. Motion to approve.
On the question first?
Yes, sir.
Can I get a brief explanation? Letter A.
EWG security camera installation. Oh, yes.
It,
This is the last piece of the camera project we're approved out of the capital project. Right, Chief Harry, this is the last school and this is the last bill you'll see official project.
so this is it.
This is it, but I know Chief Harry is looking at
I'm
some
gonna
grants that he applied for. We did all this 13 schools. I believe he wants transportation garage built. That'll be fair when it's
So you're applying for the grant now? Oh, okay. So everything based on their quote is going to be covered through the grant? Okay. Thank you.
question on the Schrader Group invoice for $218,619.50. What is that exactly for? That seems like an awful lot.
So we approved their contract tonight under the Facilities Committee. They've been billing us on a time and materials basis till now, but under their contract, it's based on 6% of the construction cost, and it's based on how far they got, so there's percentages on the design phase. We also, this bill originally was somewhere around 300,000, but if you remember when we did the feasibility study, they said if we got this project going, they would credit back the feasibility study, so the feasibility study was deducted, plus the money that we paid them so far was deducted off, so the 218 brings them to date based on their contract.
But is this based on the upcoming
pools.
project?
This is
I was
only
gonna say,
for the
this is
pools.
The upcoming project of the pool,
Yes.
okay. And when are those bids due? Tony, Bobby?
October 30th, would be a week today.
Thank you.
We're
And,
meeting next Tuesday with them, so we should have some bid results for you
Okay.
that night.
Okay.
If I may go back to A for a moment, Captain, how many cameras did we get for that price?
That's
Yeah,
not the
I'm
entire
talking about
price,
Maple
but-
Manor, but, yeah. Yeah. And these are the same cameras that I was given the demonstration? Yeah, I mean, these cameras are just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you know, I've never, I mean, I know technology has come a long way, but these cameras, I mean, I know, they're just phenomenal, so, and
Keep in mind too that it will also cover
installation.
That's not just the camera.
Right, but in this case, I'm just saying, was that 73,000, was that for just the cameras we put at Maple Manor, or is that just the last piece of the payment? Okay, well, that's a great, in my opinion, a great price. For those type of cameras, I mean, those, our students and staff are, I know cameras don't keep you safe, but they certainly are going to help us deter. So, thank you.
Tony,
Yes.
going back to Schrader's,
Mm-hmm.
so this is based on a percentage? When we didn't even open the bids weren't even open on this project.
They're basing it on a estimate, and then once the bids come in, they'll adjust the amount based on the action.
Can I get a copy of this invoice?
Tony, is this how it's done all the time? I mean, when you work on a percentage, is this how they do it?
Yes, typically it's 6%. That's what PD approved.
But I mean,
Yeah, but prior to the project,
so they
though.
pay it before?
Yeah, the architect typically is paid about 75% or so before construction starts. Most of their payment is in the planning, design, bidding, documents.
Thanks.
So the feasibility cost was what, $75,000?
45,000. I believe. I think we paid about 38 or 39 of that 45, so that came off, along with the rest of the funds for that we paid on the pool project came off.
Is that all on the invoice?
Yes.
Yeah, we need a motion for the bills.
Motion?
Motion by Mr. Mahalik, second by Mr. Szymanski. Question again, any more question? Reba?
Number 50, A through D, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No on D.
I'm a no on C and D.
Yeah, I'm a no on C.
Mr. Bodomo, you are no on D.
D, yes.
Ms. K, C and D.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoekelen,
Brian, on the, on letter B, does the verbiage have to change on that too?
No, that's correct. That's
No,
under her
that's
current
her
contract.
invoices.
Okay, so it's not based on what we,
No, these, the invoice comes to us and then we will look at get access money to.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Still on page 8, under superintendent's agenda, approve items 51 through 53 with one motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. Garcella. On the question, Mr. Reba.
51 through 53, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 9, approve items 54 through 62 with one
Motion.
motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo. I'll second. Question,
Yeah, just on, I've got two on 54, and certainly I don't want to violate anyone's rights here. But is that just
It's a service issue with Weatherly. They cannot provide the services that we can.
and it just, how do we come up with the tuition amount?
That's based off the state reimbursement rate.
And on 56, I think the members of the board that are able to attend those meetings, just, we're, to my knowledge, we have way more kids now placed than we've ever had when they were here. That's not a trend that I'm comfortable with, but all of a sudden we put them out and we find kids that are appropriate, and they weren't appropriate when they were placed here. So I'm gonna look at this each and every month. We can get an update of how many students are up there.
And I
Sure.
also am going to,
We'll definitely provide you with that information.
Thank you, sir.
and I'd like that information also.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll share it with the entire board.
thank you. We have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Yes, we have.
Where? Have the questions. Roll call.
Items 54 through 62, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
On page 10, approve items 63 through 76 with one motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo. I'll second. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Items 63 to 76, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 11, approve items 77 through 83 with one motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mahalik. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Items 77 to 83, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Prior to adjournment, we do have one more motion for the floor. Number 84, recommend board permit the administration to begin negotiations on the GANS building.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. We do have.
We do.
And anyone wish to speak on that? We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Mr. Reba.
On the new motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
No.
Ayes have it, noting Ms. Kay and Mr. Van Hoeklen's no vote.
Anyone from the floor wish to be heard at this time? Dr. Chowdhury.
My name is Robert Childs. I'm a resident of Hazel Township. Last meeting, Mr. Zola brought a manual that he waved at the public from his desk regarding it's called Beyond Zero Tolerance. It's an ACLU document. Was actually published in 2015. It contains no data beyond 2012. Okay, it's 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. At that point in time, he pointed out that the district did not make the top 20 in any of the serious lists, which would be out-of-school suspension, expulsion, and arrests. And he was correct. The expulsion, we actually rated number 9, but that's the only area. Now, realize that the last year that there were police only in the secondary school, particularly the high school areas, was 2013-14. well beyond the 2011-12 we were talking about. And that year we had 44 arrests. That was 2013-14. In fall of 2014 was when we began to have police in all the schools. Last year, the arrest numbers were 350. Anything strike you as a little out of line? Okay, and it was a 3-to-1 minority to minority population involved with that, which raises a whole lot of other questions, but we won't get into that right now. That document that he brought to light, though, is very interesting. It was about a 45-page document, the last 30 pages of which are mostly stats. Okay, but the first 14, 15 pages tells you the ACLU take on how school discipline should be done and how school security should be done. And it's a pretty comprehensive, it's very interesting, and I would suggest that you all might want to take the time to read it. It's 15 pages, it's not hard, but it's very, very, very important. When it comes to the message this gives us is that the Hazleton Area School District has not gotten beyond zero tolerance. Simply haven't. First step is you have to differentiate discipline from security. We haven't done that. Not in this district, we haven't. The out of school suspensions and the expulsions disrupt education at all levels, not just for the student, but for the school, for the classroom, for the entire district. If you want to take a look at how this is happening in this district, you look at the latest PIMS report. Now, for those who are not aware of what PIMS reports are, those are reports by the district of everything from absenteeism to truancy to out-of-school suspensions to expulsions to arrests. It gives a whole gamut. It's the material reported by this district to the state, and it compares to all the other districts around. It's called the PIMS report. The one for this year I don't think is available quite yet, but the one for last year is certainly available, and it does not paint a very pretty picture for this district. There's an awful lot of overdone discipline and so forth. The number 2 step that needs to be mentioned is that the ACLU pointed out that the courts need to be avoided wherever possible. They pointed out that this is a quote, once the kids get involved in the court system, it's a slippery slope downhill. They pointed out that Texas recognized the school to prison pipeline, where 3 times the number of kids who end up in the courts as students, 3 times the number end up in prison as adults compared to the others. What they're suggesting is that there's a different way to do it, and Texas has already undertaken it. Now, at the time of this 2015 report, Texas was still working on their solutions. But in this district, we have 350 arrests. Think how many students are ending up in the court. It's nuts. Above and beyond that, as I say, take the time to read. I think it's a worthwhile document. It gives you the idea what's considered modern in terms of providing school discipline and school security. Just to mention to you that if something ever happens here, people are going to take a very close look, just like the place in Connecticut has been dissected, piece by piece. It's not a very pretty picture that this district is painting right at the present time in terms of how it's approaching compared to what's being recommended. So, just to mention. To further one more thing, once again, I know there are a number of parents here tonight representing the students who are having to walk to Heights Terrace. If and when something happens in the wintertime to one of these kids, are you just going to say, yeah, I'm sorry, or are you actually going to stop with, well, the state said we could do this? It's something that you need to think about because this is a dangerous area to talk.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Doc.
Good evening. My name is Ibelice Eufrasio. I know you say in the agenda you don't want to talking or you don't want to comment about something out to the agenda, but we are here for some reason. We want to know what are you doing about the problem we're having with the school bus. That's this one. Probably you see today, you don't see too much parents here, but the only reason is because you changed the day for the meeting. and we don't have a time to let them know that you change. But they know what happened. And the last thing I wanted you don't forget the next year we will have election, and we will be go remember what you did about keep all kids safe. Thank you.
Anyone else? Chief Harry?
I'd like to respond to Dr. Child's comments. One of the things I failed to mention at the last meeting that he was here, and you talk about parents coming in and telling you things at your office. And I often wonder, if somebody came into your office and said, I'm having a heart attack, would you immediately treat them for a heart attack, or would you do an examination and get all the facts together? I would think you would do an examination. But yet, somebody comes into the office and says something, and then you come in here and lambast security and the board without getting all the information and finding out exactly what happened in those particular cases. When we talk about, you talk about statistics that were in that report. We've been very transparent with what we do. We put all our monthly statistics on the district website for everybody to see. I've never heard you or anyone come in here and talk about those statistics when you say we don't differentiate between security and school discipline. I beg to differ. If you look at the statistics from the 2016-2017 school year, there were 2,020 incidents reported to security. If you look at the following school year, 2017-2018, it dropped to 985, a drop of 55%. So I'll mention why that statistic is like that. At the end of the 16-17 school year, that was the first full school year that I was employed here, I get every report that's written by my officers, and I review that, make any corrections that's sent off to the schools. One of the things I noticed during that school year is that my officers were getting involved in a lot of incidents that I felt were classroom management issues and shouldn't be brought to security or to school police. I met with my officers, explained to them I didn't want them getting involved with classroom management. I met with all the teachers on an Act 80 day prior to the start of the school year, explained to them security and police can't be used as a crutch for classroom management, and the number of incidents where we were involved in dropped by 55%. So I'm going to differ with Dr. Childs. We do know what the difference is, and we've made tremendous strides in getting security and police involved in only things they should be involved in.
Anyone else? We have no one else. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Mahalik, second by Mr. Bonomo.
Yes.
Those kids have been for years. I mean, that's much more dangerous.
Who's that guy at
I'll call you right when I leave, okay?
We had a motion to borrow that money. Brian Bradley came last week. He's the attorney to Bonk.
Yeah, see,